Building an online presence is an absolute must if you're going to grow your business in today's online world. But it can be confusing where to start or what to do next if you've been online for a while. You also don't want to have to spend a ton of money on ads or spend time on strategies that don't work because that's just too frustrating. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 easy ways that you can build your brand and grow your online presence without breaking the bank. If you don't know me, my name is Joyce Lehman, and I show coaches how to attract and connect with their ideal clients online using simple social systems so they can generate more leads and make a bigger impact without overwhelm. If you've watched any of my lives before, you know I move through content quickly, so be sure to drop the word social and I will send the show notes your way. Now, if you're online, then you know that building on social is a must. So tip number 1, start with a strategy. All too often, I'm out looking at social media profiles, connecting with folks, and what I see is kind of a hodgepodge of content, or I hear back from people, I'm posting content, but nobody's engaging with what I do. So my question is, do you have an actual strategy behind the content that you're posting? Do you know who your ideal clients are? Are you posting content that meets them where they're at? Meaning, are you posting content that's in the stages of awareness? Everybody from who's completely unaware, they don't even know they have a problem, they love your content, so they stay engaged, all the way up to they are actively seeking to find somebody that can help them solve a problem. But all too often it's just random stuff where it's all feel good, which is fantastic. But that's why having a strategy with your audience and being able to bust beliefs with your content and also covering those 3 main pillars is so super important. So with that, it is powerful to use social media, but you got to know where to start. So if you want to ask yourself a couple of questions, then you want to make sure that you do an audit. So if you're not getting the results, are you on the right platform? So are you on the platforms where your target audience is actually spending time? And what's working? So when was the last time you checked your analytics, whether it's on your mobile or on your laptop, to look and see the content that you posted that actually got the most engagement with? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean likes. It means actual comments, shares, or saves. So part of your strategy is looking at this. Then you're going to know, do you need to make any changes? So are you first off using the right social media platforms? If you're more working with business owners, then LinkedIn is a great place to start. However, you're going to find some of those same business owners over on Facebook or on Instagram. TikTok has taken off for some people, but it all goes back to who's your perfect client and where are they spending time? And then are you posting content that's relevant that people are going to connect and engage with? And then when somebody does engage with you, do they know what they're signing up for? Do they know the value of what they're going to get by staying in your social media ecosystem? All right, tip number 2 dives deeper into knowing your audience. And if you say everyone, then that's not an audience, because marketing to everyone in essence means you're marketing to no one. So that's why really getting specific on your content and know who you're marketing to. And this is where doing research, going out, Facebook groups are a fantastic way that you can connect with ideal client, niche specific Facebook groups, and ask questions, but you got to know the right questions to ask. Also, if you've got a personal Facebook page or an Instagram profile, even a LinkedIn profile, you can post questions to find out what people are searching for as far as content. What do they need the most help with? So using polls is a great way to get feedback. But once you know the target audience, once you know the platforms where you're going to be spending time, then that's where, go back to, you've got to have that strategy. You've got to be consistent with your content. All too often I see, in fact, I saw it yesterday and I don't know that she realized this, but I got an email from somebody that I follow who was highlighting a marketing coach. When I clicked the link, her website wasn't even completely set up. And after doing a little searching, which I did, it found out that there was another completely different website that she was using to market, but didn't realize she was being promoted with the wrong link. All too often I see people as well. It's like they say they're a marketing expert, or they say they're a relationship expert, or they say, they say whatever that is, but their presence doesn't meet that. And that's where tip number 3, you want to create a standout profile in each of the platforms that you're on. So what I mean by that is, if you go in and you look at your Instagram profile, for example, and by the way, last year, Instagram increased the number of characters that you can have on your personal profile in your bio. I just did a quick video on this. So you can see that you want to be using keywords in your profiles. You want to use keywords, especially in Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever somebody might find you, because these keywords, and you always write in the what's in it for them. If I can't look at your social media bios and I can see how you can help me, not your expertise, not all the benefits of what you have to offer, but if I can't immediately see that you can potentially help me, then if somebody's a potential client, they're not going to stick around too long, not unless they absolutely love. It's like a general bio, right? Or it's a general profile of somebody who's posting all motivational content, or maybe if you're a cat follower, then what happens is, that content's going to relate to everybody. But when you talk about being very niche specific, then that's where write your bios so it speaks to your audience. That's where you have a great value statement. And it should be, I help blank do blank so they can. I help fill in the blank, do blank. That's the transformation so they can, and that's the result. So if you want, I've got a great bio hack, then make sure you drop the word bio in the comments and I will send my bio hack your way, because it's all about having a standout profile. So with that, then number 4, it is about building relationships. Now, one of the things that I hear is, I don't have 3,000 followers, or I don't have 1,000 followers. Followers are not the metric if you're going to be successful, and they're vanity metrics. The important thing is engagement. You can have a couple of hundred followers, and if they're highly engaged with the content that you're creating, then that leads to conversations, which leads to clients. But I've known people that have had 50,000 followers, but they don't get engagement and they don't do anything to convert them to sales. So that doesn't equal money. So don't worry about the number of followers you have. Focus on building relationships. You want to keep the social in your social media presence. So a couple of things that you can do is always mention people. When somebody's coming on and they're interacting with your profiles, going back to, if you've created a profile and you haven't posted anything on there in weeks or months, not a good idea. It's all about picking. I'd highly suggest, if you're only going to pick one profile, be consistent with it before you try to add another one, or you're going to get overwhelmed. Because if I go into one of your profiles, especially Facebook business pages, I see this all the time, and you've posted nothing for 6 months or even a year, like you set it up, you have very few followers, that doesn't speak well for your brand. And the whole point of this is boosting your brand online. So with that, when people are commenting, make sure that you respond quickly, mention them, go ahead and mention them, so they're going to get that notification that you did talk to them. If they're asking questions, make sure you answer them. Always reply. So on occasion, I have people that will share me in an Instagram story, or they'll mention me in a comment. Always go back and respond. It's not that salesy weirdo stuff. It's all about having conversations and developing relationships. Then the other thing that you can do is, if you're going to share somebody's comment, don't just share it, go ahead and mention them as well. These are all ways to spark conversations, and then interact with your followers, the ones that really like to come in and comment a lot. Send them a message. Going back to, this is not about pitching. This is simply sending messages to interact. Now, if you are extremely introverted, and I totally understand that not everybody feels comfortable about that, then interacting with people online, think of it as an online networking event. If you were going to go to an in-person networking event and you were going to meet somebody, you're going to ask questions about them. You're not immediately going to try to pitch what you do, although there are a lot of people that go to networking events to do this, which that's not a really good idea, but they do it anyway. But just think about the questions that you can ask. Go look at the posts that they've made on their social profiles. Go back and look a few, go back and look a few posts back. Even if you like what they do, comment. Don't just like it. The point is you want to comment. Here's also a hint. If you want to spark the algorithm, go content on people's comments or on their content first before you post something, because it kind of wakes the algorithm up. All right, now tip number 5. This is a great thing to do, and I call it, this is how you can boost your bio across multiple platforms. And so you can use something like Linktree. You could actually use a page on your website. But when you put one link going back to, I'm going to pull this up here. So when you go back to, let's get it by the camera and out of the light. All right. So if you see layman.live/resources, that is on my Pinterest page. What that does is it takes people to Linktree, where they have multiple things that they can access. Now, the secret with Linktree is you don't want to have 20 links, and dear God, I've seen some people do that. Don't do that. But this way, say, for example, you've got Facebook. You can put links in your bio on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Giphy, if you've got a Giphy account. If you have one URL like Linktree, I know AppSumo's got one. In fact, I'll post it in the show notes, where you can get that link bio set up for like $3 for life. So when you use that, then what happens is, say you've got Instagram, but you want to drive people back to your website, you can't put clickable links in Instagram. So with that, you can drive people up to your bio. Or maybe over on your website, you've got social media icons, but you are putting blogs out. Well, on a blog, you could insert that, and maybe you've got a free or a freebie or your lead magnet that you want to drive some people to, or you've got an upcoming workshop. I see it with nonprofits. I love volunteering with nonprofits. And so it's easy to say, like, here's the volunteer link. Here is the donation link. Here's a special event link that we have going on. So that's why that tip number 5, when you put the links for all of your special bios, the places that you want to drive people to in one place, then it makes it super easy actually for somebody not only to engage with the platform that you are on or they're currently on, but the other ones that you have. So building an online presence may feel overwhelming, but it doesn't really have to be. So with that, I always promise a recap. And this is the Cliff Notes version. So 5 easy ways of how you can build a social media presence, boost your brand, and grow your audience without breaking the bank. All right, you know that building a strong online presence is essential for you to grow your business online, but it can feel overwhelming, time-consuming, and sometimes you don't even know the place to start. So the very first thing is always start with a strategy. If you don't have a strategy, then what happens is you're posting random content. You're hoping something sticks. It's kind of like that, spray and pray approach, that you think somebody's going to come running to you to buy what you have when you haven't really fully developed your strategy. So first off, you got to go back and look at analytics. So go to your cell phone, and it doesn't matter. It could be your laptop. Go into the social platforms you use the most. Go into the analytics in the settings and look and see what kind of content you're getting the most engagement with. Are you being consistent? It's another huge question. If you're not consistent on social media, then first off, that silly, crazy algorithm, it's going to be hard. First off, they don't know who your target audience is, when you're posting, how you're posting. So part of it is knowing your target audience, having the right keywords, and being consistent. So with that, you want to make sure that you're on the right platform of where your audience is spending time, and that you have a cohesive content strategy to go with it. All right. Tip number 2 is know your audience. You have to make sure that you know your audience. Now, different social platforms tend to have different types of audiences. So LinkedIn tends to be more of that professional network. Instagram, I've seen a variety of everything. Facebook, the same thing. However, the demographic, that age range who's on Facebook is going to be a little bit different than Instagram. And TikTok, originally it was teenagers posting stuff. I've seen a lot of businesses do really well. And of course, YouTube. YouTube is a fantastic place to be when you use it. But that's the point. You've got to know your audience. And then you've got to go back up to number one, be consistent with your strategy. All right, number three, create a standout profile for each platform. So if you're choosing to be on multiple social media platforms, you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, you're on TikTok, like me, you've got a Giphy account, you need to make sure that no matter where somebody lands, you've got this consistent look across all of your social media platforms. So that way your target audience, it's not like you've got one crazy profile photo over here and something that looks completely different there. Your bios are mismatched. So now is a great time. I call it spring cleaning, to go in and make sure that you are updating your bios. Always think what's in it for them. You want your reader to be able to look at your profile and fully understand who you are, but more importantly, how you can help them. So it should always be written in that, how you can help them, what's in it for them. All right, build relationships, not just followers. That is tip number 4. Your follower count is not a metric. You do not make sales from the number of people who like your posts or the number of followers that you have. You make sales when you actually have people who are engaged with your content and you have conversations off the platforms. These can be via DM, they can be via phone, but you've got to have ultimately conversations. So I would rather see you have 100 highly engaged followers than 5,000 followers who never engage with anything that you have. So you want to make sure that you don't leave the social out of your social media presence. And a couple of ways that you can do that is always mention people who comment on posts. If you reply, click that @mention. Answer all the questions that people ask. If you've got people who are highly engaged, then reach out to them in the DMs. Don't pitch them anything, but reach out, have conversations, because you never know where that's going to go. It's just like that in-person networking event, you're taking it online. All right, number 5, add one link. Linktree is a favorite. I mentioned AppSumo. If you want my bio hack, then make sure and comment. I'm trying to pull it up here. Then post biohack and I will send it your way. It is a great way that you can drive people across multiple social media platforms to special workshops, to events that you might have going on, even to your offers. So use that, because that way it makes it super easy in that call to action. And it can be on a social media post, it can be in a blog on your website. It can even be in something like this, right? Always make sure you include that call to action, but give people a super easy way to interact with you in multiple places. So building an online presence, yeah, it can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. With the 5 tips that I shared, it can help you do this where you leverage your time and you don't have to pay for ads. So if you want the show notes, then drop social and I'll send them your way. Otherwise, follow me for more online business building tips.